guys, welcome back to the channel, and I am glad to be back. I'm home from some recent travels through Europe up to Scandinavia, but more on that later. And in today's video we will be running through the most in-demand questions that you guys requested on my recent Q&A post here on YouTube. Come on! So without further ado, and keeping in line with current events, the first question was about arranging care for the piggies and how long guinea pigs can realistically be left for when we go away. Well, we were lucky in the fact that my other half stayed at home because I'm a terrible girlfriend and I went on holiday with friends without bringing him with me. And we're also lucky in the fact that he is the most amazing pig dad of all time. So the girls were in his care and they were very well looked after. And a general rule is to always arrange care if you're going away for more than one night. Probably 2 piggies would be okay if they had loads of food and water options and mountains of hay.
Nice.
But it doesn't feel quite right having not at least someone go and check on them. So when we both go away for more than one night, I actually take the piggies over to my parents' house where they have a kind of similar setup there. It's actually one half of their old L-shaped cage. Let me know if you remember that one. And that is in a room at my parents' house. And my mum does a fantastic job of looking after them if we are away for a reasonable amount of time. For this next question, we have the piggies here for a demonstration. And it was, how often do you weigh your guinea pigs or do health checks? Well, if I'm totally honest, it depends on the piggies I have at that particular time, but I recommend that we all try our best to stick to health checks and weighing at least once every week. Sometimes, of course, this can slide, our lives get busy, and especially if we know we have young, fit and healthy guinea pigs, but still it's useful to keep a track on their weight. So with Callie here, I did mention recently on Instagram that she came down with a bit of a fungal problem on her face, bless her. So we've been treating that with this Dactarin cream, which actually says it's for athlete's foot, but it's recommended on the guinea pig forum, and it has done a great job at starting to clear up her little fungal problem on her face, and the hair is growing back now, which is a great sign too. I am just going to take the opportunity to show off my new guinea pig bedding. There is a bit of a craze going around in the UK at the moment in the guinea pig community with Asda's guinea pig bedding. And after about 50 Instagram posts, I couldn't resist and I went out and bought some of my own. This one has little cute radishes, little pea flowers, and of course your general stock images of guinea pigs. And it's not the greatest quality of bedding, but we literally don't care because it's got guinea pigs on it. Okay, so moving on with the Q&A, and the next question was a sort of 2-in-1. You asked, what is the best beginner pet? And also, is it possible to have a healthy pet on a budget? Now, this is a tricky one. As for a beginner pet, I would say, are there really any beginner pets anymore? Back in the day when I was younger, you would go to a big pet shop, you'd get maybe a hamster or a gerbil, mice or rats, you'd buy a cheap plastic cage, get some food with lots of grains and seeds in, and that would be your new animal set for the rest of its life. But these days, if you really want to provide the best care, you've got to go way above and beyond what you see in the pet shops. And I would say there aren't really any beginner pets out there anymore. So if you're thinking about getting your first ever pet, do your research, find out whether they fit in with your life, your living arrangements, the space you have, and the time you have to do all of the chores that they require, and socialise and spend time with them as well. And the other part was, is it possible to have a healthy pet on a budget? And this got me thinking, because yes, whilst pets can be expensive, guinea pigs can definitely be expensive, having a budget is understanding that cost and planning for it, and also putting money aside for future expenses such as vet bills. So I think as long as you do this, there are definitely ways to reduce your day-to-day costs. You could get hay from a local farmer and get it in big bales. You can get reusable beddings. You could use fleece where you only need to wash it. You can maybe arrange getting your vegetables through a slightly cheaper way, but you do need to be putting money aside for their healthcare and their vet bills, or you need to have them insured to make sure you cover that side of things, which is often the most expensive part of owning guinea pigs, or any other pet for that matter. The next question was a good one, and I think it relates to something that a lot of you might be wondering, and that's how do I fight the urge to not add more and more guinea pigs to the herd, which is a totally relatable problem. But in my case, there are two main reasons. So firstly, this cage behind me is the maximum amount of cage space that I can realistically fit in this house. So this cage is a 2x6 and it's not really suitable to have more than 4 guinea pigs in this cage. And the other reason is that I don't really buy guinea pigs on a whim anymore.
What?
I always try and rescue, and often that takes a reasonable amount of time. It's a bit of a process. There's lots of searching online, trying to find the right guinea pig. So it basically means that getting new guinea pigs must happen now isn't really the thing that happens anymore, but I can totally relate. Just remember, if you do end up getting a lot of guinea pigs, make sure they're all well looked after and they each have enough space. More on new guinea pigs in just a second, but I thought I would answer a couple of your questions about what I actually got up to on my trip away and where I went. So I was really excited to go abroad because I've not been away since 2019, not abroad anyway. So it was really exciting, and we went interrailing through Brussels, Hamburg and Copenhagen all the way up to Stockholm in Sweden. And Copenhagen was actually one of the places where we got to do a bit of exploring around on the way there and the way back, and it's such a lovely city. I would definitely recommend visiting if you get the opportunity. And same goes for Stockholm as well. It's such a nice city. I'd never been anywhere in Scandinavia before, so it was a great first starting point, and that's where we did most of our holidaying activities, which included ice skating on a frozen lake which was definitely scary at first, but we got the hang of it. You have poles, fortunately. I still did fall over 3 times though, but it was fun, if a little bit scary to begin with. And then other highlights from Stockholm were going to a spa the next day, exploring one of the islands in the archipelago, seeing some of the underground stations on the Stockholm subway because they have some amazing artistic designs where there's all bright colours on not all like exposed bare rock. And also we went to the Vasa Museum, which is a huge warship which was sunk on the bottom of the sea for like 300 years, and you walk into the museum and it's just there, this gigantic ship, and they've got all of this museum dedicated to it and people's lives in the 1600s and stuff. It's really, really interesting. So yeah, it was such a nice trip, and thank you for being interested and asking about it. Okay, so it is time for us to acknowledge the elephant in the room, and that is that I have had a fair few questions on whether I'll be getting a new guinea pig, will it be a baby, will it be a neutered boar, when? And these are all questions that I've been thinking about myself, and yes, of course the answer is I would love to get another guinea pig. As I said, this cage does support 4 guinea pigs, so of course I'm going to get another guinea pig to go in there. And I think the next logical step for the herd is probably another neutered male. However, because we had such an amazing experience with Pedro, I mean, he was the best boy ever. It does make me very nervous about what maybe a younger boy will be like with the girls. A baby would integrate into the herd better, but I mean, I would love to own another boar, so we'll just see how it goes. And like I was saying before with the rescues, it involves me doing a little bit more research, perhaps waiting for the right boar to come along, finding out a bit more about their temperament. There is also the fact that I would like to own another long-haired guinea pig. It feels strange having no long-haired piggies in the cage, so there's that as well, which might mean that I have to wait a little bit longer, but we'll see. I'm not quite ready yet, but I'm sure in a few months' time then, yeah, the search will be on. Next up, we have some good questions that relate to getting new piggies. And someone asked, what are the signs to look for when introducing a new piggy to the group? They said they know about teeth chattering, but is there anything else? And is it possible that a new piggy will never get along with others? So dominance questions and introductions and fights are one of the things I get asked about way more than anything else. And it's one of those areas that even as a fairly experienced owner, it takes a while to kind of understand what's going on. And of course, we're not introducing guinea pigs to each other on a day-to-day basis. So what we need to understand is that guinea pigs have to set up what's called a dominant dominance hierarchy or a ranking system where each piggy has their place and other piggies are either above them, more dominant, or below them, more subordinate. And in order to set that up, they need to express themselves through these dominance behaviors. So yes, teeth chattering is one. You also have rumble strutting, you have mounting and chasing, you have quickly jabbing at each other but not necessarily biting hard. Then you also have others such as yawning, circling each other, and more so when you're introducing guinea pigs, you'll see them raising their hair, making themselves look bigger and more intimidating, and almost tensing up like they are going to lunge and fight with each other. But the one thing to remember that's more important than anything else when introducing guinea pigs is to avoid intervening as much as possible. You need to let your guinea pig scale up these behaviours up to a point until one of them chooses to back down, or until a fight properly breaks out, at which point you do need to get in there with your towels and your oven gloves and stuff to break them up. But that's only when you're seeing them properly in a furball fight. You know that they're probably trying to bite each other. A lot of these other behaviours are sort of like almost making contact, but they're rarely ever touching each other. And if you keep intervening at that point and breaking them up, then they have to go back to square one and go through the whole process of scaling up the behaviours again. So it's really interesting when you've got a bit more understanding to watch them and understand what's happening. And another key behaviour that often gets ignored is that the importance of a guinea pig who is backing down. So that's a really good sign, because when the behaviours reach a certain point and one of them backs away and wanders off or just runs away, then they're saying to that dominance piggy, okay, you can be above me in the ranking. And as for fighting guinea pigs, it might be possible to reintroduce them, especially if you've been a bit overly cautious in interrupting them and they've not been able to get up to that point where one of them's back down. However, if you know for sure that they're definitely fighting and they've injured each other, sometimes repeatedly, then it's not safe those piggies living together and you need to think about what alternative arrangement you can come to. Next up, just because I didn't want to leave too many people out, I have some quick fire questions, and the first is, how did I decide on each of my piggies' names? So Phoebe, character from Friends. I always wanted to own another ginger Abyssinian guinea pig called Phoebe, so that had to happen. Roxy, because basically she looks like a little punk rocker. She's really cute, and she's got more Peruvian in her as well, so her hair is slightly longer than Phoebe's. And then Callie was kind of from the breed. She is a Californian guinea pig, but also because we were thinking about sea names and we just wanted something that was a little bit more out there and a bit different, because she is quite a unique guinea pig, so we thought Callie suited her basically. Next up is, who is the most excited for food? Thank you, Beatrice, for your question and your comments on all of my videos. It means a lot. We have, of course, Roxy. Has to be the most food motivated out of the three piggies. She will squeak the house down when there's even a hint of any sort of vegetable coming her way. Next is, what products do I use to clean the plexiglass on the cage? So I just use my standard F10 SC solution, which I've just bought a new bottle of for the first time in like 5 years. This stuff really does last forever. I don't think there's any point in using like a special window cleaner or anything. I think it's probably more about the cloth that you use if you're worrying about scratching the cage. So make sure you get like one of those microfiber cloths, something that is recommended for use on glass. Next is how often to bathe guinea pigs. And if they are short-haired or rough-haired breeds such as Abyssinians, then they don't really need bathing at all unless they've got some sort of skin problem or other problem that means they're dirty around their bottom. If you've got long-haired guinea pigs, then keeping the hair trim short around the bottom is your best defense against dirt and things getting caught in the hair, and in that case you shouldn't really need to bath long-haired guinea pigs either. Next up was, how much do I spend on my piggies per month? And this varies drastically. A good month is around £50 or less for veggies, a hay order, maybe some pellets, the general stuff that they need for the cage. If I have a month where I get some kind of treats in for them, a haul or a splurge, or if I've got vet visits, then this can be a lot more than £50 a month, and where there's been expensive vet visits, it can be as much as £1,000 a month. So that's why it's really important to be prepared or have them insured in case they do need to go to the vet. And next we had a request for hay recommendations, which is a question I get asked a lot, even though I feel like I talk about it in a lot of my videos. So the hay I use is the London Dust Free Meadow Hay. It's like a soft bedding hay. And then I also use hay boxes, Timothy blend, to supplement that and give them some Timothy hay and something a bit different to eat. You can also give another hay or hays on top of that. So orchard grass hay, oat hay, even ready grass are all good things to mix in or give them occasionally to add a bit more interest. And next someone asked if we could talk a little bit more about sow seasons and heat cycles, and they said it was one of the most jarring things they experienced when owning female piggies for the first time. It can be unsettling because females will come into heat. Over a couple of days they will be chasing each other around, mounting each other, showing dominance behaviors, and it can be a bit, oh, what's happening? Like, are we falling out? Do we need separating? However, usually after 2 days things calm down and it goes back to normal. Now this can happen every 30 to 40 days, I think it is. However, in my experience, it doesn't happen that often. And especially as they get older, it happens less and less. So Roxy and Phoebe, I honestly can't remember the last time either of them were in heat. Callie really was only in heat a few times when Pedro was around. So maybe the presence of a boar can affect them. And if you find it unsettling and you worry about them, and perhaps sometimes you think the behaviours carry on lasting a bit longer than they should, and there's a bit more of a bullying or dominance issue there, you could look at the setup. So are you giving them enough room? And on an individual basis, are they fighting over certain resources in the cage, such as their favourite hidey hut, perhaps one with a small entrance that they like to defend from each other? You could switch things out in the cage, go for more open-ended tunnel type hideys. Things like that can definitely help, and I hope this answer is vaguely helpful, that it does happen, but it will happen less and less as they get older. Next up, I didn't want to leave out these few last questions about me and the YouTube channel. So firstly, someone asked whereabouts in the UK am I from, and I am from Yorkshire in the north of England. I think someone commented the other day saying your Australian accent sounds wonderful, and I was like, really? So yeah, I'm from Yorkshire and I definitely have a Yorkshire accent. Next up was, when did I first start the channel and what time did it take for me to reach 1,000 subscribers? And this is a difficult one because there was a big break in where I did no videos for like 3.5 years, and then I started making them again in 2020. But the channel was started in 2013, and I don't know exactly when. I tried to find out on the analytics, but it was too long ago, basically. But I think it took me a long time to reach 1,000 subscribers, as it often does. It does, you know, it takes a lot of time and effort, and I certainly wasn't very consistent with my YouTube videos in the very beginning either. So I think it took a year or more for me to reach 1,000. And finally, someone asked me about the filming equipment that I use. So I have Sony compact system cameras. I have the Alpha 6000, which is my oldest one. It's still a really good camera. And then I also now have another Sony camera body, which is the vlogging one they did, and it's the ZV-E10. And with those, I use the Sony kit lens and this lens, which is the Sigma 1.4 16mm. It's a prime lens. It's really, really good. That kind of really short focal length means that you can get really good quality videos and pictures from it. So recommend that lens. It's not too expensive either. And then for my lighting, I actually have newer LED panels to either side of the desk, which you might have seen. And then also I have 2 battery ones. It's gonna do scary stuff, but 2 battery ones like this, small ones that I can move around, and they are great for filming in different areas of the house. So yeah, that is my setup for filming videos. If you want to know a bit more about it, then just comment below and I can put product links or whatever if you're looking into doing your own sort of filming setup. And in case anyone does have their own YouTube channel and they're looking to get epidemic sound, then I have a link to Epidemic Sound, where you can get like a month free or something in the description of all my videos. So do check those out if you're thinking about signing up to Epidemic Sound either now or sometime in the future. But yes, that is all of the questions for this Q&A. Thank you so much to everyone who posted questions, and to those who I didn't get around to answering, I will go back and reply in the comments on that post. So thank you so much for watching, guys. We will see you next week in the next video. Bye bye. A little cuddle sausage. Oh, you're eating poop.